Olivia Carter practically crawled through the heavy glass doors of Blackwood Industries, the clock flashing a merciless 8:47 p.m. Her feet throbbed inside her black pumps, each step a fresh wave of agony. Every muscle in her body screamed for release after enduring 12 relentless hours of firefighting in the administrative department. The day had been an unmitigated disaster from the get-go. The coffee machine, a vital lifeline, had chosen the morning rush to stage its rebellion. 3 different departments were breathing down her neck for critical, urgently needed reports. And as if orchestrated by some malevolent force, the entire computer system decided to crash right before lunch, sending the office into complete chaos. Now all she could dream of was collapsing onto her worn, but comforting sofa at home, devouring leftover pizza, and praying she could erase this day completely from her memory. With more force than necessary, she jabbed at the elevator button, watching the illuminated numbers painstakingly descend, each a countdown to freedom. When the doors finally creaked open, she stumbled inside without truly looking up. Her mind was already miles away, picturing the soothing bliss of a hot shower. Someone else was in the elevator, she registered almost subconsciously, but Olivia barely noted the tall figure in the expensive suit standing silently in the corner. The insistent buzz of her phone broke through her exhaustion-induced haze. Seeing Emma's name flash across the screen sparked the first genuine smile on her face all day. "Emma, thank goodness you called," Olivia said, quickly plugging in her earbuds and leaning heavily against the cool, metallic elevator wall. Her eyes drifted closed as exhaustion washed over her in heavy waves. "Girl, where have you been? I've been texting you all afternoon." Emma's cheerful voice filled her ears. "So, spill the tea. Tell me everything about last night. How was the date with that guy from the dating app?" Olivia groaned softly, shaking her head even though her friend couldn't see her. "I canceled again." I know, Emma interjected, anticipating the impending lecture. "Before you start lecturing me, Emma," the conversation was going absolutely nowhere. He spent 45 solid minutes detailing his gym routine while sitting in his car. "I just couldn't force myself to endure an entire evening of that." "Olivia Carter, you are 24 years old, and you have canceled the last 5 dates I've practically begged you to go on," Emma said, with exasperation that held genuine affection underneath. "What are you so afraid of? These guys seem nice enough. Just go out and have some fun for once in your life." "It's not that simple for me, Em. You know that?" Olivia sighed, shifting her weight from one aching foot to the other, completely unaware of the man in the corner whose attention had completely shifted from his own phone to her conversation. "Every time I even think about going on these dates, I just freeze up. What if there's no connection? What if it gets incredibly awkward? What if he expects things that I'm just not ready to give?" Emma's voice softened with understanding. "You're still worried about the whole virginity thing, aren't you, sweetheart? There's absolutely nothing wrong with being a virgin at your age. It's your choice, your body, your timeline. The right person will respect that completely." Olivia felt her cheeks flush with heat despite being alone in the elevator. Or so she thought. "I know there's nothing wrong with it, Emma, but try explaining that to the modern dating world. Everyone just assumes you have experience by now. They expect you to know exactly what to do and how things work. And honestly, I have no clue. The whole thing terrifies me." "Listen to me carefully," Emma said firmly. "When you meet the right person, someone who truly cares about you, you won't feel embarrassed or scared. It will feel natural and right. You will know when that moment comes. I hope you're right because so far, nobody has made me feel safe enough to even consider it," Olivia admitted, her voice dropping even lower. "All the guys I've met just want to rush through everything. Nobody has patience anymore. Nobody wants to take things slow and actually get to know each other first. I need someone who will respect my boundaries. Someone who won't make me feel broken or weird for still being a virgin." "Is that really too much to ask for?" The elevator suddenly lurched violently, the jarring movement nearly throwing Olivia off her feet. The lights flickered erratically once, twice, 3 times, before plunging everything into darkness. Olivia gasped, instinctively grabbing the cold metal railing, her heart leaping into her throat. When the emergency lighting flickered to life a moment later, bathing the confined space in a dim, yellowish glow, she stammered that she needed to call Emma back, pulling out her earbuds with trembling hands. Reality crashed down on her like a bucket of ice water. For the first time since stepping into the elevator, Olivia really looked at the other person sharing this confined space with her. Her blood turned to ice water in her veins. Standing there in an immaculate charcoal suit, looking impossibly composed despite the unexpected situation, was none other than Nathan Blackwood himself, the CEO, the man who owned the entire company, the billionaire whose face graced the covers of business magazines and whose reputation for being ruthlessly brilliant preceded him everywhere. And he was smiling, not a wide, toothy grin, but a small, knowing curve of his lips that told Olivia everything she needed to know. He had heard every single word of her conversation, every embarrassing detail about her dating disasters, every vulnerable confession about her virginity, the mortifying truth. "Oh no, oh no, no, no," Olivia whispered, feeling heat flood her face so intensely she worried she might actually faint. She silently prayed for the elevator floor to open up and swallow her whole. "Please tell me you didn't just hear all of that." Nathan Blackwood slipped his phone into his jacket pocket with infuriating calm and precision. That slight smile still danced at the corners of his mouth. "It seems we are stuck here for a while. The elevator appears to have malfunctioned." His voice was deep and smooth, with an undercurrent of something that might have been amusement. "You heard everything, didn't you?" Olivia could barely force the words past her tight, constricted throat. She covered her face with both hands, wishing desperately that she could spontaneously disappear, turn back time, or develop instant invisibility powers. "Oh, I did hear your conversation," Nathan confirmed, and there was definitely amusement lacing his tone now. "Though I should mention, I wasn't intentionally eavesdropping. You simply happened to be having a rather personal phone call in a public space." "Ah, this is absolutely mortifying," Olivia said through her fingers, her voice muffled and shaky. "I just confessed my biggest insecurity to my boss, to the CEO of the entire company. This is officially the worst day of my entire life." "Technically, you confessed it to your best friend," Nathan pointed out reasonably. "I just happened to be present. And for the record, I am not your direct boss. I doubt we have ever even crossed paths before this unfortunate moment." Olivia slowly lowered her hands, forcing herself to look directly at him, even though shame burned through every cell in her body. "That somehow doesn't make this situation any less humiliating, Mr. Blackwood. Please call me Nathan. And honestly, I found your honesty refreshing." He leaned back against the elevator wall, crossing his arms casually. The emergency lights cast interesting shadows across his angular face, highlighting sharp cheekbones and an unexpectedly kind expression in his dark eyes. "Refreshing?" Olivia repeated, completely bewildered. "How could anything about what you just heard possibly be refreshing?" Nathan seemed to carefully consider his words before speaking. "In my world, everyone wears masks constantly. People tell me what they think I want to hear. They pretend to be someone they are not just to gain favor, make connections, or climb the corporate ladder. Authenticity is incredibly rare, especially among people who know who I am. But you had no idea I was here. You were being completely, genuinely yourself. That is more valuable than you might realize." Olivia stared at him, struggling to process this unexpected response. This was not how she envisioned this conversation unfolding. She expected anger, disgust, maybe even termination. She definitely did not expect understanding or compliments about authenticity, much less an unexpected proposal. "I still can't believe this is happening," Olivia said weakly, sliding down to sit on the elevator floor despite her professional skirt. Her legs simply wouldn't hold her up anymore. "Of all the elevators in all the buildings in this entire city, I had to get stuck in one with you after that phone call." Nathan surprised her by sitting down as well, his expensive suit apparently not a major concern. "For what it's worth, I think your perspective on dating and relationships is quite admirable. Too many people rush into things without considering whether they are truly ready or whether they actually trust their partner. You are being thoughtful and intentional about something important." That takes courage. They sat in companionable silence for a moment. The low hum of the emergency systems the only sound. Olivia found herself relaxing slightly, though the embarrassment still simmered just beneath the surface of her skin. "Can I ask you something, Olivia?" Nathan said suddenly, and she noticed he had somehow learned her name, probably from her employee badge. "Probably. This might sound strange, but would you have dinner with me? Not as your CEO, not as some corporate obligation, just as two people getting to know each other." Olivia's head snapped up so fast she nearly gave herself whiplash. "I'm sorry, what? Did you just ask me to dinner?" "I did. I realize the timing is unusual, given we are currently trapped in an elevator and you just had an extremely personal conversation that I accidentally overheard, but I find myself genuinely interested in getting to know you better. You are different from everyone else I typically encounter, and I mean that in the best possible way. Mr. Blackwood, Olivia stammered, her mind racing. "This is crazy. You are a billionaire CEO and I am just an administrative assistant who organizes files and answers phones. We live in completely different worlds. This cannot possibly be a good idea." "Perhaps that is exactly why it might work," Nathan suggested, his dark eyes holding hers steadily. "Different perspectives, different experiences, different worlds colliding. That could be interesting rather than problematic. Unless you simply do not want to have dinner with me, which I would completely respect and understand." Olivia bit her lip, her mind spinning with conflicting thoughts. This was insane. This violated probably a dozen workplace policies. Her father would have a heart attack if he found out. Emma would think she had completely lost her mind. And yet, there was something in Nathan's eyes, a sincerity and loneliness that resonated with her own feelings, that made her want to take this leap despite all logic screaming at her to refuse. "Okay," she heard herself say before her rational brain could stop her. "Yes, I will have dinner with you, but I need you to promise me something first." "Anything," Nathan said immediately. "Promise me that if I decide this is too much or too uncomfortable or just not working, you will respect that completely. And promise me it will not affect my job in any way, regardless of what happens between us personally." Nathan extended his hand toward her. "You have my word, Olivia Carter. Complete respect for your boundaries and your job security is absolutely guaranteed, regardless of anything else." As she took his hand, the warmth of his grip sent an unexpected jolt of electricity up her arm. "Now, shall we exchange phone numbers, so I can properly arrange this dinner once we escape from this elevator?" As if on cue, the elevator jerked back to life, the normal lights flickered on, and the doors slid open at the lobby level, revealing a small crowd of concerned maintenance workers and security guards waiting anxiously. As they stepped out together, Olivia caught the curious glances and whispered comments. She knew her life had just changed forever. Whether for better or worse remained to be seen, but at least it wouldn't be boring anymore. 3 days passed before Nathan finally called, though Olivia had been obsessively checking her phone every hour. When his name finally appeared on her screen during her lunch break, her heart performed an impressive gymnastics routine in her chest. He suggested dinner at a restaurant she had only ever seen in glossy magazines, the kind of place where reservations required months of advanced planning and connections she could only dream of possessing. Emma helped her choose an outfit after Olivia had a minor meltdown in her bedroom, surrounded by rejected clothing options. The simple black dress they finally settled on felt both elegant and understated. Though Olivia worried constantly that she would look out of place among the wealthy elite who frequented such establishments, Nathan arrived exactly on time, driving himself rather than sending a chauffeur, which somehow made Olivia feel slightly less nervous. He looked devastating in a tailored navy suit, but his smile when he saw her was warm and genuine, without any trace of the intimidating CEO persona everyone at work feared. The restaurant was everything Olivia expected and more. Crystal chandeliers, pristine white tablecloths, servers who moved with the grace of dancers, and a menu entirely in French without any prices listed. She felt her anxiety spike immediately, her fingers gripping the leather menu until her knuckles turned white. "Breathe," Nathan said softly, reaching across the table to gently touch her hand. "You look beautiful. The food is excellent, and nobody here matters except us." Just relax and be yourself. It's easy for you to say, Olivia whispered back, glancing around at the other diners, who all seemed perfectly comfortable in this world of luxury. You belong here. I feel like an imposter who snuck past security. Nathan leaned forward, his dark eyes intent on hers. Can I tell you a secret? I still feel like an imposter most of the time, too. I grew up in a neighborhood not much different from yours, Olivia. My father worked construction and my mother cleaned houses to make ends meet. All of this, he gestured around the elegant restaurant, came later, and it never quite feels entirely real. Olivia stared at him, surprised by this unexpected revelation. The business magazines never mentioned his humble beginnings. They only ever showed the polished billionaire, not the person underneath. Dinner turned into a revelation. Nathan was funny, self-deprecating, and genuinely interested in everything she had to say. He asked about her childhood, her dreams, her favorite books and movies. He told stories about disastrous business meetings and the loneliness that came with success. By the time dessert arrived, Olivia found herself laughing freely, the nervousness mostly forgotten. Over the next 2 weeks, they fell into an unexpected pattern. Coffee before work at a small, local cafe. Olivia introduced him to lunch in the park, where they fed pigeons and talked about everything and nothing. Dinners alternating between his world and hers, fancy restaurants and casual diners. It was during one of these casual dinners at her favorite neighborhood spot that Nathan made his unusual proposal. They were sharing a plate of nachos, something he claimed he hadn't eaten in over a decade, when he suddenly became serious. I have an idea, and I want you to hear me out before you say no. Nathan began, carefully wiping cheese from his fingers with a paper napkin. What if we made a deal? You show me how to live a normal life again. Teach me about the simple things I have forgotten. Take me grocery shopping. Show me how regular people spend their weekends. Remind me what it feels like to be grounded in reality. And in exchange, I introduce you to my world. Not to change you or make you fit in, but to show you that you can navigate any space with confidence because you are intelligent and capable and worthy of being anywhere you choose to be. Olivia set down her nacho, studying his face carefully. That is a strange proposition, Nathan. What exactly are you hoping to gain from this arrangement? He answered immediately. Balance. A reminder of who I was before money complicated everything. And maybe, if I'm being completely honest, I just want to spend more time with you in a way that feels purposeful and structured. Does that make sense? It makes sense, but I have conditions, Olivia said firmly. Everything happens at my pace. No pressure, no expectations beyond what we explicitly agree to. And if, at any point, this arrangement makes me uncomfortable, we stop immediately. Those are non-negotiable terms. Nathan extended his hand across the table, a genuine smile lighting up his entire face. Deal. When do we start? The first real test of their arrangement came that Saturday morning when Olivia dragged Nathan to the grocery store in her neighborhood. He arrived in his sleek, imported car, which immediately attracted stares from everyone on the street. Inside the store, he seemed completely lost, staring at rows of products as if he were deciphering an alien language. How do you decide which brand of cereal to buy when there are 47 different options? He asked, genuinely perplexed. Olivia laughed, pulling him down the aisle. You look at the price per ounce, check the nutritional information, and pick something that tastes good and fits your budget. Here, let me show you. She spent the next 2 hours teaching him about comparison shopping, coupon clipping, and the art of meal planning on a budget. Nathan took notes on his phone, asked countless questions, and looked more engaged than she had ever seen him during their previous dates. When they reached the checkout, he automatically reached for his credit card, but Olivia stopped him. Cash only today. Part of the experience is managing actual money and staying within budget. Nathan pulled out his wallet, staring at the bills as if he were seeing them for the very first time. I honestly cannot remember the last time I used physical cash for anything. The following weekend, Nathan reciprocated by taking Olivia to a charity gala at the city's most prestigious hotel. He had insisted on buying her a gown, and after significant resistance, she finally accepted, understanding this was part of their agreement. The dress was stunning, a deep emerald green that made her eyes sparkle. Though it cost more than 3 months of her rent, the gala was overwhelming from the moment they arrived. Everywhere Olivia looked, she saw designer gowns, expensive jewelry, and the kind of casual confidence that came from generational wealth. Nathan stayed close to her side, his hand warm and reassuring at the small of her back, as he introduced her to various business associates and socialites. Most people were polite, though Olivia could see the curiosity and speculation swirling in their eyes. Who was this unknown woman with Nathan Blackwood? Where did she come from? What was her angle? She smiled and made small talk, trying to project confidence she did not entirely feel. She was returning from the restroom when she overheard the voices, sharp and cruel, echoing from around a corner. 2 women in glittering gowns stood there, champagne glasses in hand, completely unaware of Olivia's presence. "Did you see that girl Nathan brought tonight?" one of them said, her tone dripping with disdain. "She is so obviously out of her league here. The way she holds her fork, the way she talks, everything about her screams ordinary. I give them 3 weeks maximum," the other responded with a harsh laugh. "Nathan always gets bored. Eventually, he'll realize she can't possibly fit into his world and move on to someone more suitable, someone with the right background and connections. She probably thinks she hit the jackpot, landing a billionaire," the first woman added viciously. "But girls like her never last. They're just temporary entertainment until reality sets in." Olivia felt like she had been slapped. Her throat tightened and tears burned behind her eyes. She was about to turn and flee when a familiar, deep voice cut through the hallway like a knife. "Patricia, Diane, how interesting to hear your opinions on my personal life." Nathan's voice was cold as ice, a tone Olivia had never heard from him before. She peeked around the corner and saw him standing there, his expression absolutely furious. The 2 women had gone pale, their champagne glasses frozen halfway to their lips. "Since you both seem so fascinated by my relationship, let me clarify something for you," Nathan continued, his words precise and cutting. "Olivia Carter is worth more than both of you combined. She has more integrity, more genuine kindness, more substance in her little finger than you have managed to accumulate in your entire privileged lives. If you can't see how remarkable she is, that reflects poorly on you, not on her. And anyone who can't treat her with the respect she deserves has no place in my life, business, or otherwise. Am I making myself absolutely clear?" The women stammered apologies and hurried away, their faces flushed with embarrassment. Nathan turned and found Olivia standing there, tears streaming down her face despite her best efforts to contain them. "How much did you hear?" he asked gently, closing the distance between them in 3 long strides. "Enough," Olivia whispered. "Both them and you defending me." Nathan cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs wiping away her tears with infinite tenderness. "Every word I said was true, Olivia. You are extraordinary. Do not let anyone ever make you doubt that." In that moment, something shifted between them. The careful boundaries they had maintained, the casual nature of their arrangement, all of it dissolved. Olivia found herself leaning into him, and when he kissed her softly, carefully, asking permission with every gentle movement, she kissed him back with all the emotion building inside her for weeks. Facing reality the next morning, Olivia woke to 17 missed calls from her father. Her stomach dropped as she called him back, knowing this conversation wouldn't be pleasant. "Olivia Marie Carter, we need to talk right now," her father said immediately, his voice tight with worry and frustration. "I saw pictures online from that charity gala last night. Everyone is talking about you and Nathan Blackwood. What exactly is going on?" "Dad, I was going to tell you," Olivia began, but he cut her off. "Tell me what? That you're dating a billionaire? That you're all over social media with one of the richest men in the country?" "Olivia, what are you thinking?" "I'm thinking that I care about him and he cares about me," Olivia said, trying to keep her voice steady. "He is a good person, Dad. If you would just meet him, you would see that." "Sweetheart, listen to me carefully," her father said, and his tone softened slightly. "I know you're a smart woman, but men like that, they don't end up with girls like us. We come from different worlds. What happens when he gets tired of playing normal?" What happens when his family or his business associates pressure him to find someone more suitable? You're the one who is going to get hurt, and I cannot stand by and watch that happen to my little girl. The words stung because they echoed her own deepest fears. So what do you want me to do? Walk away from someone who makes me happy because you're afraid of what might happen? I want you to be realistic about this situation before you get in too deep, her father replied. I want you to protect your heart, but I can see you've already made up your mind. So, I'm asking you to bring him here. Let me meet this man who has turned my daughter's life upside down. Let me see for myself if his intentions are genuine. Olivia agreed, though anxiety twisted in her stomach. She called Nathan immediately after hanging up with her father, explaining the situation. To her surprise, relief washed over Nathan's face instead of worry. I want to meet your father, Olivia. I want him to see that this is real, that I'm serious about you. When can we make that happen? They agreed on dinner the following evening at her father's unassuming home. Olivia dedicated the entire day to cooking alongside her father, meticulously preparing his renowned pot roast, a dish steeped in family tradition, accompanied by all the classic sides. The aroma that filled the house was intoxicating, a warm, comforting scent that spoke of home and hearth. But her nerves were stretched thin by the time Nathan arrived. He arrived in casual attire, sporting jeans and a simple button-down shirt, carrying a bouquet of vibrant sunflowers and a bottle of wine that, while elegant, wasn't showily expensive. Olivia noted these subtle considerations, these quiet signs of thoughtfulness, and found herself falling for him a little bit more, appreciating his understanding of what the situation called for. Her father, Robert Carter, a man built sturdy by years of labor in a factory, greeted them at the door. His arms were crossed, his expression stern. He was a formidable figure, using every inch of his towering height to project an air of intimidation. Nathan, however, didn't even flinch. Mr. Carter, thank you for inviting me into your home, Nathan said, extending the flowers and wine with genuine respect in his tone. Robert accepted the offerings without cracking a smile. Come in. Dinner's almost ready. The meal began awkwardly, punctuated by Robert's direct, probing questions that made Olivia want to disappear into the floorboards. But Nathan answered each one honestly, never resorting to charm or evasion. He spoke of his humble beginnings, his difficult journey to build his company from the ground up, and the loneliness that had often accompanied his success. What exactly are your intentions with my daughter? Robert finally asked, placing his fork down on the plate with deliberate force, the clatter echoing in the sudden silence. My intention is to be worthy of her, Nathan replied simply, meeting Robert's gaze directly. To support her dreams, to respect her boundaries, and to improve every single day, proving that she made the right choice in giving me a chance. I know we come from different worlds now, sir, but I haven't forgotten where I started. I remember what truly matters. And what matters most to me is sitting right here at this table with her. Robert studied Nathan intently for a long moment, his eyes searching, analyzing, before turning his gaze to Olivia. Do you love him? Olivia felt her breath catch in her throat. She and Nathan hadn't yet spoken those words aloud, although she felt them growing stronger within her with each passing day. Yes, Dad, I do. Robert turned back to Nathan, his expression unwavering. And you? Do you love my daughter? With everything I have, Nathan answered without hesitation. His eyes locked on Olivia as he spoke. She changed my entire world. She reminded me how to be human again. She is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Robert Carter leaned back in his chair, his calloused hands folded on the table. His expression remained guarded, but the hard edges were beginning to soften. The pot roast sat half-eaten between them, steam still curling lazily from the serving dish. Olivia held her breath, anxiously awaiting her father's verdict, her hand instinctively reaching under the table to clasp Nathan's. I raised my daughter to be strong and independent after her mother passed, Robert said finally, his voice thick with emotion. I taught her never to depend on anyone else for her happiness or her security. I worked double shifts so she could go to college, so she could have opportunities one never had. And now I'm supposed to trust that some billionaire actually cares about her for who she is, not what she represents or how she makes him look. You're not supposed to trust me yet, sir, Nathan replied, his voice steady and respectful. Trust has to be earned over time, through consistent actions, not just words. All I'm asking for is the chance to prove myself. Let me show you, through my actions, that I'm serious about Olivia, about us building something real together. Robert's stern facade cracked slightly, revealing the worried father beneath. My daughter is the most precious thing in my world, Mr. Blackwood. If you hurt her, all your wealth and power won't protect you from me. Are we clear? Completely clear, sir, Nathan said. And if I ever do hurt her, which I have no intention of ever doing, I would deserve whatever came my way. The tension in the room finally dissipated. Robert stood up and extended his hand across the table. Nathan gripped it firmly, and Olivia felt tears of relief streaming down her face. Her father pulled her into a tight hug afterward, whispering in her ear, "He seems like a good man, sweetie, but you call me the second anything feels wrong. You hear me?" "I will, Dad. I promise," Olivia whispered back. 2 weeks later, it was Nathan's turn to face the family gauntlet. He had been consciously avoiding telling his older brother, James, about Olivia, knowing full well the kind of reaction he could anticipate. James Blackwood was everything their parents had envisioned both their sons to be. Married to old money, obsessed with social status, and perpetually concerned with appearances and business connections. The confrontation erupted unexpectedly when James arrived at Nathan's office unannounced on a Tuesday afternoon. Olivia happened to be there, having stopped by during her lunch break. They had been sharing a light-hearted moment, laughing over something trivial, when James strode in without knocking. His expensive suit impeccably tailored, his expression already etched with disapproval. "Nathan, we need to talk privately," James said, barely sparing Olivia a glance. "Anything you need to say can be said in front of Olivia," Nathan replied calmly, though Olivia could feel the underlying tension radiating from him. James finally acknowledged her presence, his gaze sweeping over her with cold assessment. "So, you're the administrative assistant everyone's been gossiping about. The one who has my brother completely distracted from his responsibilities." "James, that's enough," Nathan said sharply, rising from his desk. "No, it's not enough. Do you have any idea how this looks, Nathan? You're dating an employee, someone with no connections, no background, no social standing. The board members are concerned. Our business partners are asking questions. Father would be absolutely horrified if he were still alive." Olivia stood up quietly, gathering her purse. "I should go. This is a family matter." "No," Nathan said firmly, taking her hand. Then he turned to his brother, his expression hardening with cold fury. "Father would have respected Olivia because she possesses something that most people in our circle completely lack: genuine character. She doesn't need social standing or connections because she has integrity. And if the board members or our business partners have a problem with my personal life, they can take it up with me directly. You're thinking with your heart instead of your head, Nathan," James argued, his voice laced with condescension. "This infatuation will pass, and then you'll be left with the professional complications and social embarrassment. Be realistic, Nathan." "I'm being realistic for the first time in years," Nathan shot back. "I spent so long surrounded by people who only cared about what I could do for them, what connections I could provide, what doors I could open. Olivia doesn't want anything from me except my time and my honesty. That's real, James. That's what actually matters." James looked from one to the other, his jaw clenched tight. "I can see I'm wasting my breath. But don't come crying to me when this all falls apart." He turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Olivia felt shaken by the encounter, but Nathan pulled her into his arms, holding her close. "I'm sorry you had to see that. James has always been more concerned with appearances than actual happiness. He's your brother, Nathan. I don't want to come between you and your family." "You're not coming between us. His own narrow-mindedness is doing that. And honestly, if he can't see how remarkable you are, that's his loss." A few days later, Nathan received an unexpected phone call from his grandmother, Margaret. His father's mother, who had largely remained removed from the cutthroat world of business following her husband's death. Now in her early 80s, and as sharp-witted as ever, she requested to meet Olivia immediately. Grandmother is the only family member whose opinion I actually value, Nathan confessed to Olivia as they drove to Margaret's estate on Saturday morning. She has always seen through nonsense and gone straight to the core of things. If she approves of you, which I know she will, that means everything to me. Margaret Blackwood resided in a beautiful, yet unpretentious house enveloped by flourishing gardens, which she still tended to herself. She greeted them at the door clad in gardening attire, her hands dusted with soil, her silver hair pulled back into a simple, elegant bun. Her eyes were bright and full of intelligence as she appraised Olivia from head to toe. "So, you're the young woman who has my grandson smiling like an idiot," Margaret declared, her voice imbued with warmth despite the bluntness of her words. Come in, come in. I just made tea the old-fashioned way. None of this fancy nonsense." The afternoon unfolded like a dream. Margaret engaged Olivia in thoughtful conversation, asking about her upbringing, her career, and her aspirations for the future. She shared stories of Nathan as a young boy, before the trappings of wealth had begun to distort his perspective, a time when he was innately curious, kind, and brimming with wonder. She shared old photo albums brimming with snapshots of simpler times. "My husband built this company from nothing," Margaret said as they sat together in her cozy living room. "But somewhere along the way, he forgot why he started. He forgot that money is just a tool, not a measure of worth. I see that same mistake mirrored in James. He's so consumed with status and appearances that he's forgotten how to be human. But you, Nathan, you've always been different, more like me. Thank goodness." She turned to Olivia, gently taking her hand. "And you, my dear, you remind me of myself 50 years ago. I married into wealth and it was terrifying. People judged me, looked down on me, whispered behind my back, but I never let them change who I was. I stayed true to myself and eventually they either accepted me or moved aside. You possess that same strength. I can see it in your eyes." "I'm trying," Olivia said softly. "Some days are harder than others. Of course they are. But you have something that most people spend their whole lives searching for. You have someone who loves you for exactly who you are. That's rarer than any amount of money and more precious than any social standing. Hold on to that and the rest will work itself out." As they prepared to leave, Margaret embraced them both tightly. "You have my blessing, for whatever that's worth," she whispered to Nathan. "She's perfect for you." Over the ensuing weeks, Olivia and Nathan settled into a comfortable rhythm. They consciously chose to disregard the opinions of others and instead concentrated on nurturing their relationship on their own terms. Although she ultimately transferred to a different department at Blackwood Industries, in order to dispel any perception of impropriety, Nathan made concerted efforts to immerse himself in Olivia's world, enthusiastically attending her father's birthday barbecue and getting to know her childhood friends. The true acid test came 3 months into their relationship when Nathan had to attend a major business conference in another city. He invited Olivia to accompany him, not as his assistant, but as his partner. She took vacation time and joined him, determined to prove to herself that she could confidently navigate his world. The conference teamed with powerful individuals, brokering deals worth millions of dollars. Initially, Olivia felt intimidated, acutely aware of being an outsider in such a rarefied atmosphere. However, she recalled Margaret's sage advice about remaining true to herself. Rather than feigning understanding of complex financial discussions, she posed genuine, insightful questions. Instead of plastering on a disingenuous smile, she was candid about her thoughts and opinions, and something extraordinary occurred. People responded positively. They seemed to appreciate her authenticity, a refreshing contrast in a world saturated with calculated interactions and artificial facades. At a networking dinner, a prominent investor approached her. "You're Nathan's girlfriend, correct? The one everyone's been talking about." Olivia braced herself for criticism, but the woman smiled warmly. I just wanted to tell you that I've never seen Nathan look so relaxed and happy. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Genuine happiness is a rare commodity in our world, and he's clearly found it with you. That night, back in their hotel room, Nathan pulled Olivia into his arms. I've been waiting for the right moment to say something, and I think tonight is that moment. What is it? Olivia asked, her heart pounding in her chest. I love you, Olivia Carter. His voice was soft, yet resolute. Not for what you represent or what you bring to my image, or any other superficial reason. I love you because you make me laugh, because you challenge me to be a better man, because you see me as just Nathan. Not Nathan Blackwood, the CEO. You've given me back parts of myself I thought were lost forever. And I want to spend the rest of my life proving to you that you made the right choice by loving me back. Tears streamed down Olivia's face, but they were tears of pure, unadulterated joy this time. I love you too, Nathan, completely and honestly. You make me feel brave enough to be myself anywhere, with anyone. You make me feel like I belong wherever you are. They kissed then, a long, passionate kiss that was full of promise and overflowing with love. Later that night, entwined in each other's arms, they spoke of their future, acknowledging the challenges they would inevitably face, the people who might never accept their relationship, and the obstacles that came with bridging two vastly different worlds. However, they also spoke of building something far stronger than external judgment, something founded on unwavering trust, mutual respect, and genuine, unconditional love. 6 months after that fateful night in the elevator, Olivia and Nathan hosted an intimate dinner party at Nathan's apartment. Robert was present, having developed a sincere liking and respect for Nathan after witnessing his unwavering devotion to Olivia. Margaret attended, clearly delighted to see them so happy. Emma brought her new boyfriend, constantly whispering to Olivia about how surreal it all felt. Even James made an appearance, having gradually begun to accept that Nathan's relationship with Olivia was not merely a passing infatuation. As they all sat around the table, sharing food, laughter, and stories, Olivia felt a wave of overwhelming gratitude wash over her. Her life had been irrevocably transformed in ways she never could have imagined, but she had not lost herself in the process. If anything, she had unearthed strengths she never knew she possessed. Nathan raised his glass, calling for everyone's attention. I'd like to propose a toast to the most extraordinary woman I have ever known. Olivia, you walked into my life, or rather, got trapped in an elevator with me, and everything changed. You've taught me that authenticity is far more valuable than any business deal, that simple moments are infinitely more precious than expensive possessions, and that love is worth more than all the money in the world. You make me want to be the best version of myself every single day. And you, Olivia replied, raising her own glass, have taught me that I can be myself anywhere, and that true confidence stems from staying true to who you are, not from pretending to be someone else. You've shown me that disparate worlds can converge when there is genuine love and respect. Thank you for seeing me that day in the elevator, and for choosing to continue seeing me every day since. Everyone clinked glasses, and the conversation flowed freely. Later, as the guests began to depart, Robert pulled Olivia aside. Your mother would be so proud of you, sweetheart. You've found someone who values you for exactly who you are. That's all I ever wanted for you. Thanks, Dad, Olivia said, hugging him tightly, for protecting me, for trusting me, and for giving Nathan a chance. After everyone had left, Nathan and Olivia stood on his balcony, gazing out at the twinkling city lights. His arms were wrapped around her from behind, and she leaned back against his chest, feeling utterly content. I've been thinking about something, Nathan said softly. I know we've only been together for 6 months, and I'm not saying we need to rush into anything, but I want you to know that this is it for me, Olivia. You are it for me. When you're ready, whenever that may be, I want to build a life with you. A real life, combining both our worlds into something uniquely ours. Olivia turned in his arms, looking up at his face bathed in the soft moonlight. I want that too. Not the fairy tale version where everything is perfect, but the real version where we face challenges together and emerge even stronger. The version where we stay true to ourselves while supporting each other. That's the life I want to build with you, and that's exactly what we will do, she promised, her voice filled with conviction. Nathan kissed her forehead gently. Together, at our own pace, on our own terms. As they stood there holding each other, Olivia reflected on that fateful night in the elevator, when her entire world had been turned upside down by one accidentally overheard conversation. She had been terrified then, mortified beyond belief. But that fleeting moment of vulnerability, of being caught being completely herself, had led to the most genuine, transformative love she could have ever imagined. Sometimes, the most embarrassing moments pave the way for the most beautiful beginnings. Sometimes, getting trapped in an elevator with the right person changes everything. And sometimes, just sometimes, love truly does bridge the gap between vastly different worlds, creating something more radiant and extraordinary than either world could ever offer alone. Epilogue. 1 year later, Olivia stood resplendent in a simple white dress in Margaret's garden, surrounded by the faces of those who mattered most to her. Robert proudly walked her down the aisle, his eyes glistening with tears of joy. Emma stood beside her as her maid of honor, barely able to contain her excitement, and Nathan awaited her at the end of that flower-strewn aisle, his gaze fixed on her, making her feel as though she were the only person in the entire world. They had written their own vows, speaking with raw honesty about the remarkable journey they had undertaken together, the obstacles they had surmounted, and the life they envisioned building together. There was no artifice, no performance put on for the benefit of society. Just two souls making solemn promises to love and support each other authentically, for all the days to come. I promise to always see you for who you truly are, Nathan declared, his voice strong and clear. To value your honesty above any false pretense of perfection, to support your dreams as fiercely as I support my own, and to never allow the outside world to dictate or define what we have together. I promise to stay true to myself while growing alongside you, Olivia replied, her voice steady despite the emotions swirling within her. To be brave enough to navigate any world as long as you are by my side, to challenge you when you need it, and to support you always, and to remind you every single day why those simple, ordinary moments are the most precious of all. As they kissed, sealing their vows to one another, Olivia knew with absolute certainty that being her authentic self that night in the elevator had been the best decision she never intended to make. Because real love doesn't demand that you be anyone other than who you already are. It celebrates you precisely for that. It builds something extraordinary from that unshakable foundation of truth. And so, they didn't simply live happily ever after in a fairy tale, but something far more profound and enriching. A real life, built on genuine love, mutual respect, and the unwavering courage to be authentically themselves, together.